I am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle.
Hello, this is Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls podcast, and we are here at Grimmfest, and we are speaking to the director of the beta test, PJ McCabe. Welcome to Grimmfest. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's my first time in England.
Is it really?
So it's opening with Grimmfest of Manchester.
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh.
been lovely.
What a way to come over to the UK.
It's been awesome.
And are you enjoying the culture?
I am. I really am. Very much so. It's funny. I was walking today around the Roman ruins.
Oh, very nice.
Downtown in Manchester.
Well, we owe the Romans for all our roads. So,
exactly.
That's what we're about. We're all about roads.
No, but seriously, it's been lovely. I've really enjoyed it. I'm a fan, and it's been fun to be a part of Grimmfest so far.
Oh, amazing! Yeah. So, we're just starting, really.
Yeah.
There's a lot on. Beta test is your film. Tell us a little bit about that and where that came from. And
so this is a film I made with my partner Jim Cummings, and it's about a Hollywood agent who gets a letter in the mail inviting him to an anonymous, no-strings-attached sexual encounter. And he goes through with it, and it's actually good. But then he never gets another letter, and it drives him crazy and drives him down this rabbit hole into this crazy LA noir-style investigation of lying, infidelity, and digital data. And it gets crazy. It's also very funny. And, we kind of got the inspiration just from our ideas of Hollywood and the struggles we've had in a very strange, toxic industry. And also these very funny ideas about the internet and how it drives people insane and how it makes people do really crazy things. And what if we make fun of that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love, my favorite horror films are the ones that have a sense of humor, that have this kind of black comedy about it. It sounds like this has kind of almost like a bit of biting satire in it.
It does, very much so. It's very much a satirization of a lot of the elements of Hollywood, but a lot of the ideas of big corporate doublespeak and just the ideas of data scraping. And what if somebody actually took that independently and used it as a weird, strange service to pair you up with somebody who's truly good for you? And there was a lot of funny horror elements to that we wanted to explore.
Well, data effectively nowadays is kind of a weapon, and it can be used, there's so many laws and things about that. So it's kind of a new form of horror, really. It's a new thing.
It is. It's not as scary as, somebody in a Halloween mask coming out and murdering you, but it is a real horror. I mean, it's funny how the terrors of ours change over time as technology changes, and I guess that's kind of a thing that we wanted to explore, but also lampoon in a fun way.
Of course,
and,
yeah.
That's kind of something we can't help ourselves doing.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it. I believe it's on tonight. Is it on?
Yes.
It's on tonight, so I can't wait to see it. I've got my ticket already.
Oh, good.
So I'm very excited. But I think that's all the time we have. But it's been lovely talking to you, and I'm sure everybody is going to be well pumped. I'm very pumped for the beta test.
That's so good to hear. Yes, I hope everyone enjoys it. It's a wild one, so come out and see it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was PJ McCabe, the director of the beta test. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
So, introduce yourself, guys, and then just tell us what you thought of beta test.
Right, so my name's Jordan.
Anna.
And what did you think of this film as this is the premiere of Grimmfest? What do you think?
I thought it was a really cool film. It was an interesting idea. At the beginning, I thought it was going to be a bit more like a gruesome kind of murdery horror kind of film.
It did come across that way in that opening scene, didn't it?
But then it certainly it was more psychological than I expected it to be, for sure. And it was really interesting. I liked the sort of the thematics to it. Like you had the whole thing with like the company being called Ape, people turning into monkeys when he's having these like visions of like women and men around him. Like he does it
like Neanderthal. They're becoming a bit like
exactly, yeah,
pre-caveman.
Cool things to that, which is obviously a sort of statement on the fact that men are pigs and
beasts,
and scum, and that was kind of the theme that they were going with.
Absolutely, there was a lot of references to kind of very topical stuff, Me Too, Harvey Weinstein, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What did you think of that? Do you like your politics kind of subtly injected into your media?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't think
not
you
so
do
much.
so much.
I don't think I picked up on it as much as you. I could hear you quietly chuckling at some of those bits.
Some of the bits, yeah.
Yeah, like the way that the thing is that internet freaks me and you out more than a lot. Like, I posted before me and Anna got together. I posted a lot on social media, and I had no idea how much I did, and how addicted I was to that idea. And it wasn't until Anna pointed out to me that I just put my life in there, and now I don't so much. I do still probably more than I maybe should, but like I've reeled it back a lot since then. So
absolutely, I think it's quite easy to go down a kind of a hole, and you know, and people often like social media has been linked to kind of mental health issues and things like that, and deterioration. So comparing yourself with things. So my question that I know Dennis wants me to ask is if you received a purple envelope liking the beta test, would you go?
I wouldn't go. I would have actually shown her and been like, "I've seen this."
And you?
Absolutely not. Not chance, no.
I was saying earlier, I'm a bit of a worrier, so I'm like, it's a trap. It's easily a trap.
Yeah, but I feel like I've probably met people that would.
Yeah?
I
we know
think there's
people that would.
I think there's a certain character, but I feel like I've known people that exist that would.
Very, very tempted. A lot of temptation there.
Maybe just a bit disconnected, a bit psychotic. But
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, like you say, if you've got a realistic idea of this is dangerous or weird, you wouldn't even consider it. But I think there are some people that.
So you've got lots of psychotic friends then?
Yeah. Friends is the least to know people.
I think you would have to be kind of psychotic though to think that going there completely like blindfolded and not knowing and all that sort of stuff. That's weird anyway.
Yeah. True.
That part of it's weird because like the guy who walks in with a knife in his pocket. Like that part in me would have instantly been like, this is a setup.
I mean, for me, like if I was her, I'd go, well, that's not what I'm expecting to feel in your pocket. That's and I'd probably be like, no, I'm out.
That joke, but.
Yeah, maybe a bit too on the nose, probably. But this has been great, guys. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
And this will be up hopefully very, very soon, so you can have a good listen.
Awesome. Thank you very much, mate.
Been brilliant. We're here at Grimmfest, and you've just seen the beta test.
Yeah.
If you want to introduce yourself, any social media handles you may have?
My name is Henry Blinder. My social media handle for Instagram is Henry Blinder __. But I don't post on there ever, so it doesn't really matter.
You never post. Okay, good.
No, I keep off that stuff.
After seeing this film, it's probably a good thing. Am I right?
Yeah, it was a big part of it, actually, wasn't it?
It was a huge part.
Not just social media, actually, just like. Well, there's a big joke about like I wish I was still in the early 2000s. You know,
I love that.
You know, everything has been monetized now, including your life now on social media. You know.
Yeah, like you said, in this is all about like data scraping, using your analytics, to sell things to you, to manipulate you into certain choices, or maybe even political parties or something.
To be in a successful. I don't quotations.
Quotations.
Yeah.
This is a purely audio form, so those quotations.
I realised when I was doing quotations, I said quotations. Just so people know, that's what I was saying.
He's doing it.
Yeah, quotations. Like Jim Cummings' character in that. I guess you need to have a social presence, which he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you need to be busy, and you need to know people. But that also means all of that gets transported onto onto wherever it is, Well, we know Facebook is that sort of thing, I'm sure that character uses Facebook,
Absolutely, like that, and that's his downfall, really, is because he's so active on social media, is that it traps him within this world, within this CD kind of use.
Yeah, which we find out is like killing him on the inside. I mean, he's got an ulcer, and you only get an ulcer if you're stressed out all the time.
Absolutely, totally stressed. Completely stressed out about everything, and it's just a great performance from Jim.
Oh my god!
The direction is great. PJ's great in it as well, and the direction from PJ,
and the writing as well. Sorry, the writing is amazing.
It's all so spot on.
Yeah, 90 minutes. And it's perfectly paced.
Oh, absolutely, and you're never bored for a second. It hooks you, grabs you,
totally.
And it has you just by the scruff of your neck all the way through. And it truly is fascinating, and it's really topical. And I had such a good time with it.
Me too. Yeah, it's so topical. I don't know. It's very relevant. I mean, there's all those Harvey references that I thought were really funny. Part of the nose, but I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Because it's still a part of our lives. We see it on the news all the time. And this sort of business, that's what business in the film. All the things we hear about in real life. I mean, it's plausible. It's all plausible in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. This could absolutely happen.
Yeah.
Again, I thought it might be more like there's a supernatural element to it.
Really?
Yeah, initially, because it's like not every person who's being committed adultery gets murdered. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like part of me was. You know what I mean? Because everyone starts seeming to die almost like it's a curse or something.
Yeah, now you say that, I actually understand that. Actually. Yeah, especially the was it the vape pen?
Oh yeah, she poisons the vape pen. Yeah, gives it to her partner and then takes it herself.
And then we hear about other deaths happening as well off screen. So yeah, I see your point
so there was something to it, and I was like, the reveal is gonna be this, but it's actually quite a real, plausible thing that could happen.
That's a tough thing about it, you know. You want to be say, oh well, that's really funny. It would never happen in our kind of world.
No. I mean, it does every day, and
especially like Jim's character. Come on, there's
highly strung business person,
alpha male,
yeah. The Harvey Weinstein, Hollywood agent type, and that apparently that speech is like, I think PJ was saying that it was like the one he has a go at Jacqueline, the secretary, which is great, but it's so uncomfortable, so. It's like, oh gosh, I don't like this. It makes me, makes my skin crawl.
But it's also necessary because it's been what he's harboring all this time. It's why he does all these. That's why I don't know. It's why he has to have this like racial, this blindfolded woman.
Yeah,
because he needs a bit of intimacy. Because everything right he does now is fake. It's all so fake, and he needs to unload all that stuff. And it's tough to watch, but I think it needed to happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That he's just coming apart the seams. But this has been really great. Thank you so much for all your thoughts. No, absolutely. No, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry, I'll just cut you out. I'm kidding. But no, this has been really cool. Thank you very much for your time, and this will be up very, very soon. So this is Spider Dan and the Secret Balls back again at Grimmfest, and we've got more opinions on the beta test. If you'd just like to introduce yourself and any social media handles you might have.
Okay. I'm Holly, and my Instagram handle is heavenstobetsy__.
Excellent. I love that. So tell us, you are working here at Grimmfest, the very first time. How are you finding it so far?
That's right, yeah. So I heard about the festival through word of mouth, and once I checked it out, I thought it was definitely something that I wanted to be involved in. Since being part of the team this evening, I found it amazing. The group is just fantastic, and the vibe that I'm getting from the audience members and the cast and crew that's been part of the films has just been amazing. It's great to be part of.
I'm really enjoying it myself, and it's amazing to be a part of this kind of prestigious event going from 13 years, believe it or not. So this is the question we're all here to answer. What did you think of the beta test?
I thought it was fantastic. Yes, it was definitely a thriller, and I thought that the actors were great. I had a great performance, and I really liked the mix of the dark humour, comedy, and I just thought that overall it was well done.
Yeah. Dennis, you are here as well. What did you think of the beta test? Because I'm sure everybody is waiting for your opinion.
I thought it was good.
I thought it were dead good.
It was right good. It was. No, I thought it was great. It wasn't what I expected, and I liked it. I'd watch it again, definitely. I like the main guy in it. He made me laugh.
Jim Cummings, I want to say Jim Cummings.
Yeah. Channeling a bit of Patrick Bateman there, which I quite like.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
A bit of Jim Carrey and.
I got those right.
Yeah, especially definitely channeling Patrick with his suit and shouting at the women and this sort of stuff and things. I thought was very, very Patrick-esque.
Oh, definitely. I got a really kind of manic vibe, and you can kind of see his deterioration ever so slightly. So you see the temptation into the extramarital affairs and things, and looking at other women, and you see it kind of slowly just his mind unravel as it goes on.
Even at the end, spoiler like that.
Yeah.
And he's looking around.
He's still looking. Yeah.
But no, I thought it was really good. Like I said, I'm not sure it's a horror film, and I think PJ says similar.
Yeah,
he didn't see it as a horror movie.
Yeah, when I was interviewing him earlier, he was very much not really talking, because I was asking about the horror aspect, because obviously I didn't know what it was about. We hadn't seen it yet, but he seemed to kind of stray away from the horror elements quite quickly, and I can see why. Because I like we were discussing earlier that when you come to a quote-unquote horror film festival, you kind of expect kind of horror films, but this film is not. But I like the variety, because I think there's a lot of variety this year in the films that I've seen advertised and that we're going to go see. Would you go after receiving a purple envelope to one of these no strings attacks or rendezvous?
Ooh, I think that's the question. No, I don't think I would.
No, not you personally, no?
No, not me personally. I'm a good girl. I'm very loyal. So.
Would you not be intrigued about who the admirer was?
Well, it's not an admirer, is it? Because they don't know you.
They say that, don't they?
I don't know.
Yeah?
No, I think I'd always, I'd leave them hanging. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd wear... I'm not going, by the way, Sarah. But I said, I don't think I'd wear the mask. I think the mask would scare me even more. Because I'd take it off and they'd be like...
It'd be your dad.
Watching me and laughing at me going, you know. Gonna do something with that? No.
Did you say it would be your dad?
It would be your dad, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you keep the blindfold on, who's to say?
It could be your dad.
It could be my dad.
Yeah, so...
Who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows?
It could be anything, couldn't it, really?
Yeah, I'm less likely wanting to go to this hotel room now.
Well, to be honest, though, like, you know... I've got one of these social media accounts that, you know, I get these emails and stuff like, I'm a lonely woman, I'm looking for sex and stuff, and I'm like, well, instantly, this is a trap. I'm like, this beautiful women don't come, and start, offering themselves.
He's called Doug. He's in the basement.
But that, it's that whole thing. It's that whole, like, it's too good to be true, isn't it? It's that temptation that,
But, they target certain people. So when they went through how they chose him, I thought it was really clever. So
the data scraping.
Yeah, they chose people who would perhaps do they. Well, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. If they were, they chose.
You'd be okay because you're loyal. You don't click on naked men and stuff, do you?
You're a good person, so you'll be fine.
You're screwed, Dan.
Yeah, I'm awful.
You're screwed.
I am a terrible human being on all levels. So yeah, they're going to grab me, and I'll be like, I don't know what's happening. But yeah, it was a fascinating kind of. It's kind of almost like a microcosm of Hollywood and the kind of the world of kind of social media, the internet, and the data harvesting and stuff.
And it's quite a big thing at the moment, isn't it? Like with Facebook recently getting in trouble, and so it is. It's very, as my daughter will say, on fleek.
I think even that's out of date, Dennis, to be honest.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
No, I don't know many things, actually. She talks to me sometimes, I don't know English.
Would any of us, do you think, get in trouble for our social media feeds? Or is there anything lurking in the past, perhaps, that you've said or done that might get you in trouble?
No.
No, you're perfect. You're an angel.
No,
I think everyone must have said and done something maybe on social media or in real life said something that maybe they regretted.
Oh, in real life, absolutely.
Yeah.
I say things all the time in real life.
I think,
brain mouth.
Maybe if you're angry or in a bad mood, you might say something, or be a bit insensitive. I think everyone's done it.
I think my problem is that I'm not offended by anything. I don't get offended, really, apart from you. You offend me.
Yeah, well.
That's Dan, not you. You come across very lovely. But I'm not easily offended by anything. So I assume that nobody else will get offended about anything. So my mouth just opens and words fall out. And I think,
yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Cancelled.
Yeah. So I don't like the cancel culture. I don't like any of that because I think people want to be offended about things.
Yeah.
And there's real things out there that you should be offended about.
Oh, absolutely.
Not, someone decided he's going to use a white crayon instead of a brown crayon. I just don't get it.
I do have a slight issue with kind of celebrities currently being judged for things they said like 10 years ago or did 10 years ago.
It's really deep.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't expecting this, were you?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on cancel culture?
Oh, I don't know. There's such a fine line now, isn't
there?
Absolutely, towards the different subjects that you can discuss, and I would definitely say that, time is luckily moving on in a way that we're not accepting shit that was said like...
Oh, you can swear, don't worry.
10 years ago.
Go crazy, you can say all the swear words.
Okay, you'll be bleeping this all out.
But the thing is with it, if you said something when you were 17 and you're now 32 and you're married and children, we all say stuff as teenagers that are stupid. I don't think we should be judging teenagers on stuff that they say because teenagers, let's be honest, are stupid. We're all stupid as teenagers. We all say things that we don't mean. We all someone sends you a picture of something, you do it. It's like the cricketer, he said his things when he was like 17, 18.
Is it something you said, several years ago? I believe you should be judged on who you are now.
Yes.
Not who you were, because you were a different person. You might have had different opinions, different political leanings. You had, times have changed, times have gone on. People have grown, people are more sensitive, and I don't think it's something you should lose jobs over. Personally,
I'm a completely different person now than I was a while ago, because I'm married. I've got a child. That changes who you are. So stuff I said millions of years ago is useless. What about you?
I think that you definitely change the person who you are, and you learn and grow, and that's all part of life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I think in some ways you have to kind of forgive yourself for some of the silly things that you might have said when you were younger. But I don't know. It depends. It depends on what.
I was going to say
I said I like Iron Man 3, and I regret that every day.
Of course. Yeah. But again, it's it depends on what the thing was, I think, as well. Like, if it was a violent crime or something, then maybe not so much. Or, if it's an abhorrent thing you've done, or if, I think there's a line there, definitely. It's not everyone should be like, oh, he's fine. He's a serial rapist. We'll forgive him because it was 10 years ago.
It's definitely not. With my Iron Man comment, which just got totally ignored. So
I'm just totally ignoring you anyway, Dennis.
I'm going to bring it back. Favourite horror movie?
Favourite horror movie is Midsommar.
We've been discussing this before, off recording. I'm still not sure what I think of Midsommar.
I don't know either. I don't know whether I liked it, loathed it, will I watch it again. I'm going to have to. I think my daughter, Amy, wants to watch it. So I might just put it on and we'll watch it together and see what she thinks. She's cleverer than me, so you probably get it.
How old is Amy?
Amy is 15 going on 35.
She's great. Okay. She's great. She's fantastic.
It's fine. Living with me, I collect comics. I'm into all this. She's been around, because I run Comic Cons and events. She's been around actors and all this sort of stuff forever. So she's been watching horror movies forever, kind of stuff. So she's, she loves horror. But she's very switched on with it. So she gets things like horror movies, and she'll say, this is a political satire against this. We're like,
wow.
How did you get that from that?
Yeah.
And she'll explain. So she's switched on with it. So she does want to watch it because she's a big fan of Florence. Massive fan. Yeah. So I am just going to have to stick it on and say, right, because we're doing 31 days of Halloween.
Nice.
We're watching a horror film.
Great idea.
Night.
Yeah.
Just watch the same one over and over.
Yeah, I know. We've done what was the moment? We watched Random Acts of Violence, which is, I thought it was excellent. It was really, really good. But then we were Hostel 2, and then 13 Ghosts, which is...
The old one or the new one?
No, the new one. So we kind of like...
Well, I mean, that's like 20 years old, so I guess that's old as well.
My next movie is going to be Young Frankenstein, so...
Yeah.
There you go. What's your second favourite horror movie?
Second favourite. I'm not sure. I don't know.
First horror movie you saw?
First horror movie was When a Stranger Calls.
Ah.
I remember watching that very vividly at a friend's sleepover. Yes, it did scare me. We watched
that opening scene, opening section.
Yeah, at 2:00 in the morning we watched it, and
have you checked the children?
Yeah, it was so.
Have
creepy.
you checked the children?
I think that is just classic horror, and it frightened me to death. But it was brilliant, and still stays in my mind. Do you know who directed it at all?
Not off the top of my head. I did watch it it's on Amazon Prime at the moment, I think.
Oh, nice.
I think it's on Arrow as well, isn't it?
Possibly, yeah.
I watched it on one.
Yeah. I think there might be the sequel on there, When the Stranger Calls Back.
They remade it, didn't they?
Yes, they did as well.
I don't think I've seen the remake.
No.
Sorry, we're ignoring you. We're talking about
it. That's okay.
But you had some really interesting... You were talking about Midsommar just off the recording. Tell us, because again, me and Dennis are a bit divided on it. What is it about Midsommar that you love or that resonates with you?
Okay, so I heard about Midsommar through a colleague, and they said how weird it was, and I thought, well, how weird can it be? So after lots of research, I thought, well, I'll go and see it, and I think that Ari Aster is an amazing director who puts a lot of thought and purpose within like every element of his films, including Hereditary as well. The story particularly, I think, kind of, it brings a bit of girl power, like I want to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Towards the end especially. And I think the cast, they've got a great range of cast, whether it's Florence Pugh, Jack Rayner, but also...
the rest of them.
Yes,
the other ones. The other ones.
I've had a rosé. But yeah, it's great. I think it's very well thought out. It was filmed within less than a month, and all of the
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, all of the set was made within a month. So it's fantastic. Yeah, and there's just lots of thought and detail that goes into the film, which I would go on, but I would bore you about.
Would you say that me and Dad need to watch it again?
Yes.
Do we need to watch the
absolutely.
extended version?
Yeah, if you have 4 hours to spare.
I think I'm washing my hair.
Forever.
For 4 hours, yeah.
For the rest of your life, you're washing your hair.
It is a conversation that me and Amy have at least once a week whenever we watch Midsummer, so I'm just going to just do it.
Yeah.
Just kind of, I would like to watch it again because I'm still undecided, because parts of it I absolutely adored and I thought it was fantastic. I love that communal crying they do. And the crying Florence Pugh does, it's not like, I'm just having a bit of a cry. It is like mournful, deep, bawling, like real crying, that it's so much so that it's going to make you sick.
Yeah.
And I loved that. And again, it kind of, like you said, it adds that kind of sisterhood element to it.
Yes, absolutely. There's the sisterhood element with the crying scenes through that, and then there's another scene which I won't go into too much detail, but because it's quite graphic, but you probably know. And then there's the end scene where they're all together, and I just find it really powerful. I won't give away any spoilers, but the final shots are phenomenal.
No, I think the cinematography in it is amazing. I think it's like, every picture, what do they call it, like scenery porn.
Yeah.
Every kind of
Every shot says 1,000 words.
Yeah, every shot is beautiful. It's well lit. I get that. I just don't get the film.
Yeah. And, films, art is subjective. It might not be for you, Dennis, or me, and that's probably why we don't get it.
I was just waiting for somebody with a hockey mask to appear.
Yeah, definitely the wrong film you're thinking of. There's not many. Is it Scandinavia they go to, or Sweden, or?
Well, yes, it is Sweden.
Sweden.
But after looking it up, that it's actually filmed in. It's not filmed in Sweden.
It's not filmed. It's somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it's portrayed as Sweden.
Yes, it is.
That's fine.
It's brilliant.
Bringing the conversation full circle.
Okay.
I learnt about 2 minutes ago from the Simeon that the film was the beta one was edited, cut, everything in a garage.
Really?
Wow.
That's
much like this podcast.
Yeah. Well, I think they did a better job. But yeah,
the my podcast definitely.
They do everything themselves. They do everything in a garage.
Yeah.
And I thought the production value was quite high on it.
I was expecting, because it's it's an independent film. I was expecting a little less kind of quality, but it was slick. It looked good. It was it's well performed. It was well edited. It was phenomenal. Really, really interesting. And I'm glad we got to see that film as well.
My final question for you. What have you thought of your first day at Grimmfest?
Brilliant. Yeah, it's been great, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the weekend.
So
I think
we.
You're going to be tired. I'm tired now.
I'm tired. We've not even done a full day.
No, just rolled in at like 7 o'clock.
We just rocked up. Just rocked up and like, where can we go? But it's really amazing that we've been invited and that we have this opportunity, and to be the official podcast of Grimmfest is an amazing momentous occasion for this podcast. And Dennis has been speaking to Simeon and organising all this, so it's all due to kind of Dennis's hard work and graft and seducing. All the seducing he's done.
That's what I do, isn't it? That's what I do.
Oh, I say.
So he's done such a great job.
What's up?
It's a very
Oh no!
pose.
Oh no! He's becoming one of the beta testers.
There we go. That's as far as I go. Funny story. Tell you what, and then we'll finish it.
Okay. There we go.
I used to go to a bank, because I used to have my own business. I used to go to the bank and put my money in the bank. Okay. And the lady behind the counter flirted with me. I think flirting's good. It's fine, yeah. I'm crap at it. So it built and built and built. And I told my wife about it. I said, this and the other. And then it turned around and she said, do you fancy coming out for a drink? And I panicked completely and said, no, I've got wife and child. I'm all right. Thanks, bye.
She was looking for another type of deposit, I believe.
Yeah, it wasn't me. That's the thing. We got the letter. I'd open it and instantly panicked.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been lovely chatting to you.
Yes, and you as well. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Over there wants to come over and chat. We're going to be here for a little
We are here. Yeah. We are here at Grimmfest. We are interviewing everybody we can because we want to have all the different opinions and different perspectives on the event and on the movies as well. But thank you very much for talking to us as long as you have.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
So we're back here at Grimmfest and we are talking all things horror and interesting films, bizarre stuff. And we are here with another gentleman who quite likes his films. So introduce yourself, sir, and what you're doing here and what you're all about.
Hi, I'm Alan. That took a little bit of getting to. That's weird.
Did you forget?
It's that time of the night, isn't it?
I'm Alan.
I did screenwriting at university 10 years ago. And then ended up working at a cinema as close as I got to the film industry. Then decided I liked money, and so ended up working for the government. I won't name where. Have come to Grimmfest to work as a volunteer as a bit of kind of reminiscence of... I miss the cinema. I miss the kind of culture of being around talking about films and not having many responsibilities. So here I am.
That is... I'm with you on that one. I'm absolutely with you. I wish I had less responsibilities right now. But yeah, I'd like... So you know your stuff then?
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to think so.
You like to think so. Are you quite critical when it comes to films, being a screenwriter?
Yes, I think so. I have, in terms of like media, I have two passions. One is books, one is films. I love reading books because I don't know anything about them. I love watching films because I like being able to deconstruct them, and like I love horror films because they're all very formulaic, and it's interesting to see how the pieces are put together for each unique thing. Like, if you talk about like slashers, for example, I love Alien because Alien is a slasher, and its twist is that it's set in space.
Or is it a haunted house set in space? No.
Because I think
Get Out.
The important part of a haunted house film is that you have a history of the location that is a character. And yes, the spaceship is a character in it in a sense, but it has no link to the horror because they're two separate things, because you have the invasion of the other in the location that the characters are familiar with.
So
than have
the history of it. The history, the legend, the haunting. Yeah. I guess the alien does come into that. And is an invader, And
is obviously a metaphor for AIDS.
Oh my gosh. It got deep and dark very quick, didn't it?
Usually takes 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think was AIDS around at that. Was it 1979?
It started, yeah.
It was just kind of beginning. Yeah. Okay, but it wasn't the pandemic. It was, or
82,
yeah.
Kind of.
That was the big.
Yeah, that's when everything started.
Because I always thought it was like the kind of like because it's all about kind of mothers and male impregnation or male rape and things like that. I always thought it was more about that, but that's just me.
I would think lots of the iconography and kind of extra elements that they talk about are in relation to blood.
Acidic blood, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the kind of phallic nature of the way the alien attacks with the second mouth kind of implies that there's something violent about the act of male sexuality, and specifically all of the characters that die in that film are men.
I mean, there's one woman that dies, but it's off screen, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's not shown. So that, again, that's a choice. That is definitely a choice there. So interesting. And Ripley's character was a male initially, wasn't it?
Yes.
Until they cast Sigourney Weaver. I like this. This is fascinating. This is good stuff. We've already got a good guest. This is brilliant.
Thank you.
Tell us more. Do you have a favourite film or a favourite script, screenplay?
So I love Wes Anderson. I think he has. So when you're watching a film, or certainly what I think as when you're watching a film as a writer, you kind of try and look at the different movements in the film. When does one part become another? So essentially, in horror, essentially you have this idea of the other. So films start off largely very normal, and then scene B is slightly disturbed from scene A, and then scene C is slightly disturbed from scene B, until you get to this point where the change happens and nothing can be connected to reality because you have whatever the horror is occurring. And I think that runs through all films in different senses. But I like Wes Anderson's film that you, as a viewer, disconnected from that, and things just happen, and you can't kind of predict or plot out how the scenario you're in the middle of the film is related to the scenario at the start of the film. It's very dreamlike. So I love Wes Anderson scripts and Wes Anderson films because that have this very sense of whimsy of like things just happen, and they happen not because we're trying to get from A to B, I think.
Wow. This is deep. This is very deep.
Although I did get into Wes Anderson at a time when I'd snapped my wrist and it was pinned, and I was on a lot of kind of morphine.
Yes. Well, I think
perhaps I can equate the two for those reasons.
I mean, that's probably the best time to watch a Wes Anderson film, I think, when you're a little bit... Because he's got a very unique style. Almost like... Yeah.
And some would probably say that he's done that style enough now.
Yeah, I mean, there's almost a kind of disassociation or an alienation to his films because they are so very indie movies.
Yeah.
Even though obviously they've got big budgets behind them, there is that indie kind of
lots of
identity.
Kind of mystery about who actually finances Wes Anderson films.
Really? Tell us more.
So they're obviously produced by studios and released through Canal, I think, and Paramount. But in terms of actually who puts the money there, kind of there's very little information about that.
Okay.
So the kind of fan base speculates that he has one or two wealthy backers that just give him money to go and make films.
Scrooge McDuck, that's my guess. Sorry, Dennis, what were you saying?
He said, or he just could be a prostitute.
Wes Anderson is a prostitute in the literal sense or a cinematic one?
It's literal. I think that's where he raises his money. Anyone who does those films must do some shit. That's all I'm saying.
to get them made, or
just the same. I'm not a Wes Anderson fan at all.
Okay.
I can't watch anything. I think that I nah.
No, not for you. Not for you.
No. And it kind of the cast members he chooses are pretty much just playing themselves.
Possibly.
And
I think Tilda Swinton's very good in his films, and it's always different.
Yeah, but I kind of like, should we move a bit closer?
Yeah, get you guys get a little bit cozy. Come on, get cozy over there.
I do actually.
I just think they're just playing themselves. So I don't watch a film because I just want to see them.
What about Bruce Willis in Moonrise Kingdom? Because Bruce Willis has been awful for quite a while now.
Yeah.
He's quite good in that. He's got a really good sense of pathos to him.
Yeah.
Like it's a very gentle performance, which I don't think Bruce Willis does often or well.
No.
Especially if you listen to Demi Moore.
Well, there is that, isn't there?
I covered Hudson Hawk on this podcast, and one of my friends came on, a fellow podcaster, Tony Farina came on, and he was saying this is one of my favourite films. I can see why, but I disagreed. But I can see why people would like it and why I would like it, but it just wasn't there for me. And that was his and there you go. Dennis loves it. But again, that was his vanity project. So that was what he was all about. But that's what you get. And Bruce Willis can be a mixed bag, I think, sometimes.
Have you seen him in Death Wish?
Is he in Death Wish?
The remake of Death Wish. The Eli Roth remake of Death Wish.
It's just like he's supposed to be showing passion. He's avenging. It's like, oh god, could avenge up.
Here I am again on a film.
It's interesting why people like films though. Like, so for example, your friend that likes Hudson Hawk because he likes Bruce Willis. I assume he had a great experience with Die Hard as a child, and that's fair.
Yeah.
So relating this very back in a roundabout way to horror. I really love It Follows.
Okay.
And I've never understood why that is. I like the filmmaking in that. I'm sure you've seen Roger Rabbit.
Yes, yeah.
Roger Rabbit was really successful as an animated film in the early 90s, late 80s, where other animated films weren't at that time because the director used this technique, and there's a technical name for it, which I unfortunately can't remember, where you show animated objects interacting with real life. So the scene of the baby smoking a cigar, the cigar is actually there and on wires are moving while the baby is animated, so reality interacts with the fictional, the animated, which, for example, Fast and Furious films don't look real at all because it's all CG interacting with CG. In It Follows, you have the ghost, which you can't see, or the monster, or whatever it is, interacting with real things, so it gets shot and it falls into the water and the water splashes. Equally, when it gets attacked at the beach, it bursts through the barn doors, the sand kicks up, and it's a really tense, scary monster because the CG elements of it interact with real life. And it feels like it's there, the same in Roger Rabbit. And it's really interesting how that horror filmmaker has took this technique from this kind of shticky 90s film. And like, you know what, that's how I'm going to make my film scary, by doing that. And that's really interesting.
But, like, we have to say, like, it's a great film, and it's, like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a technical marvel.
Yeah.
Not very, you know, you wouldn't have it nowadays, but Disney and Warner Bros. Having their characters on screen at the same
for
time.
For exactly the same amount of time.
Yes, that's right. That was a legal requirement. But I think technically some of the scenes, there's a slight... I think the mouse wins a little bit, just ever so slightly. The House of Mouse always collects, and to use that to take such an old kind of classic way of filmmaking. I remember when I learnt about the Spider-Verse film, Into the Spider-Verse, they had
frames per second.
Yes, so they had to learn how to animate 2D for the Peter Porker, the Spider-Ham, because they wanted to do it again, and it was basically like. None of them knew how to do it. It's a dead art form. Technically, is 2D animation. So they had to learn and figure out how to do it and how to work it.
There is an Irish filmmaker who's made 3 films now: Secret of Kells, and 2 others. One of which was released through Apple, I think, their streaming service. Who are 2D animation films and are beautiful to look at.
Yeah. So, Dennis.
Yes, I'm still here.
What are your thoughts?
I like cartoons.
You like cartoons? You're a fan?
I like Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah? Did you have a favourite one?
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
That is a good one.
It is a good one. And Godzilla and Godzuki.
Godzuki.
Yeah.
Get out.
I know. But going back to effects, my daughter, who's she's 15, she much prefers the transformation scene in American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Because it's all practical than any CGI. Because it looks like it's kind of...
Oscar-winning effects.
Yeah.
Not only that, they created a category for that to win an Oscar. It was that good.
And there's a Lionsgate movie coming out, I think it's called Amityville Moon, and all the effects are practical in that, and that's a werewolf movie as well.
There is a 1930s horror film, which I forget the name of, but the kind of monster is a witch, and they use morphing through lighting. So the film itself is black and white, but the actress on screen was in green paint, and then they put a green filter in front of the black and white camera so that her makeup that you couldn't see on black and white stock suddenly appears, and it's incredible. Like, watching it now, it's still incredible.
I know what the film is, but I can't. It's long black hair woman.
Okay, so my battery's about to run out, so I'm just going to stop us and I'll change the batteries, but we will continue. Okay. So we're back. I've changed the batteries, so we're still talking here at Grimmfest, the first day of Grimmfest, so it's been really exciting, really cool. Great to meet everybody. It's going to be an excellent weekend. Dennis is looking up the name of that film that you can't remember, with the lady with the long hair and the stabbiness.
Yes, carry on.
Yeah.
What is a really good weird film is In the Mouth of Madness.
Excellent choice, yes.
Which Grimmfest put on at Stockport a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen of it, never really heard of it.
We went to the Wes Craven show, because John Carpenter, and then they did a Wes Craven.
Which we had tickets for, but couldn't make.
Yeah, we went to the Wes Craven one. That's where we met Simeon and got chatting, and then this happened, which was amazing. We had a great time there. And but I agree, In the Mouth of Madness. I'm not much of a fan of Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I couldn't get into that one, really. Some cool stuff and good cast, but...
It's the thing with John Carpenter. Like, the Fog terrified me as a child, but watching it as an adult, it's like, it has its idea, and that's it. And that probably would fill a like maybe 60-minute kind of made-for-TV film, but like running out to like 89 minutes, I think it is. It just doesn't quite work.
No.
Which is a shame. Like, the sound is awesome, the effects are awesome, and lots of the weird things he does are awesome, but it's like...
The cast is great as well. You've got really good Adrian Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tom Atkins, what's his name? Holbrook? Somebody Holbrook? Hal Holbrook? Maybe. The priest. That guy. You know. I'm sure someone's screaming at me. It's this guy. It's something Holbrook. But yeah, I like it, but I can see what you mean, though. It's kind of like, it's this. Okay. Pirate ghosts? Smoky pirate ghosts. Sure. And Dennis is still struggling, whatever this film is.
I know what it is. It's on the tip of my tongue. Is it the one where the killer at the beginning, they stick her in an Iron Maiden?
I'm not sure.
And they stick the spikes in it. It's an Italian movie.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an Italian film. Put her in an Iron Maiden because she's a witch and she comes back as like a vampire.
Oh, wait. I think I might know. Like Black Sabbath?
It's something like that.
Black Sunday?
Might be Black Sunday.
Is it Mario Bava?
Yeah, Mario Bava, she's the lady.
It's one of them.
We got that.
Yeah, we found it.
Because when she comes back, a dark face down there, isn't it, and stuff. And
Yes.
And it doesn't, yeah.
There you go. Got it. So I did all the legwork. We did all the legwork, and Dennis just sat there and stewed. But yeah, tell us a bit more about In the Mouth of Madness. No, ignore Dennis.
Fuck off, Dan.
So In the Mouth of Madness is great at evoking a specific feeling, and that feeling is confusion, which I think the filmmaker John Carpenter sets out to do. And that's really interesting because most films, horror films, set out to scare or excite or maybe titillate. In the case of like the things that you go up on your
your hostels,
you talked about before. And I think it's just a really interesting idea that it tries to confuse. So the premise of the film is that Sam Neill is an insurance adjuster, I think, of all things.
Sure.
And this big publishing house have this, basically Stephen King.
Sutter Kane, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who goes missing, and Sam Neill puts together pieces of that. The place where he's gone missing to is things that are featured in his previous novels, and in trying to go and find and recover him, weird things happen. It's very Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah, it's proper weird. It's proper, it's kind of meta as well.
Yeah,
there's a lot
it's
of
very
kind of
Alan Wake, if anyone plays games which has been released.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's
very
time to play games.
You just play mind games.
No, I get 5 minutes and pull on my phone. That's it. I don't have time to play games. Oh, my life is so difficult. Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderfully confusing, strange film. And Sam Neill's very
great.
good at being weird. Event Horizon is also a great horror film that he's in.
Yes, agreed. Have you seen Possession?
I don't think I have.
That is weird.
Okay.
That is a weird. It's all about kind of a relationship gone wrong, but there are quite. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it gets very, very weird.
I think my
very quick.
enjoyment of weird films goes back to being a kid and my dad being really into Rocky Horror. And I
Sure.
remember one of the films that I used to watch on repeat as a kind of primary school age child was Repossessed.
Oh, the parody, the spoof, the Exorcist spoof. Yeah.
So I think exposure to weird films as a child is definitely a good thing.
Yes, I'm glad you said exposure to weird films and nothing else, because that would have gone that would change the tone of like, cut this out.
Yeah, I'd have to edit that, right.
Here we go.
No.
Dennis has got things to say.
I haven't got things to say. Quick fire questions.
Okay.
Lean in.
Come on.
Get close.
I'll get close.
That's
it.
it.
I don't smell. Well, I hope I don't smell.
He's not got COVID, as far as we know.
No. Favorite horror movie?
Big Trouble in Little China.
Like I said, favorite horror movie.
Evil Dead 2.
Oh, good choice. Favorite comedy?
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I don't know what to say. I don't even know how to follow that up. Last horror film you watched?
It was Saint Maud.
Oh.
What did you think of Saint Maud?
I didn't enjoy it for the first 70 minutes or so.
It's
and then
just
the
that,
ending is
it's
incredible.
just the ending, isn't it?
I was talking to a friend about it earlier, and what it's really good at, which doesn't exist in TV or film anymore, really, I think, is that it creates tension and then it makes it sit with it. It doesn't have the earliest payoff it can. Like, it kind of, no, I'm building. All right, okay, there's going to be a jump scare, no, I'm building. It's incredible. It's a really uncomfortable watch. And I enjoyed that.
It's not that long either, is it?
No.
It's about like 80 minutes. You've not seen it, have you?
No. Is it set in Blackpool?
Scarborough.
Scarborough. Yeah, because
The Blackpool of the East Coast.
I'm from Blackpool. I thought I saw like the same amusements, or they're on the Golden Mile, as they call it. But no,
So
Scarborough
that's
is.
straight away, isn't it? Talking about Blackpool. It's
is.
enough to scare anyone.
Yeah, that is that's a horror film in itself. Just Blackpool.
There's a fantastic dystopian book that features Blackpool called A Boy and His Dog at the End of the World.
Oh,
Recommend.
I quite like the film A Boy and His Dog. Have you seen that?
No.
Don Johnson. It's interesting. I would highly recommend it, and it is very weird. Okay. So give it. It's a good post-apocalyptic movie.
Worst horror film you've seen?
There was so following on from.
Hang on, it's a trick question. There are no bad horror movies.
Way.
Sorry, go on.
Dennis wins.
Sorry.
Dennis wins.
The whole found footage kind of boom of the late 2000s. There was an Italian one, or it was an American one set in Italy, which I can't remember the name of.
Okay.
And that was just absolutely awful.
Okay.
Is it like a demon possession-y one?
Yeah,
or?
I don't like James Wan. I don't think The Conjuring and so on and so forth are particularly good horror films.
Yeah.
I think they're just jump scares.
Right. Controversial.
But they're good jump scares, and they're there. They're made from very little money. They make lots of money, and it's kind of like that. The teenage of they want things straight away. You know, St. Maud would
instant gratification.
Yeah, no, you know, my daughter would not sit through. Well, she probably would actually. Bad example. A lot of her age would not sit through St. Maud because there's nothing happens. So I think, you know, that teen. And it's always been there. The teen horror slashes and stuff. You know, all the way through. Well, yeah, since we talked about the Italian horror stuff.
Yeah, we did.
And it's there for that gratification, and then you get the more adult horror-y type stuff, which is a little bit more kind of, you know, under
deeper,
the skin,
introspective,
stuff like The Changeling and things like that. Stuff that you have to, you know, think a little bit about. But I think there's a place, because I don't mind trash horror. I don't mind sticking Conjuring on or whatever for, like, you know, an hour and a half and watching it, because I quite enjoy that escapism. Because I like shit horror movie. Every horror movie to me is. There's always one moment in every horror movie that I think, yeah, that's good. I like that. That's cool. But I think I do think there's a place for that teen stuff.
There's other ways to do that. So
there are other ways to do
Section
it.
8, for example.
Yes. Oh, good one. Good shout.
Is a nice slow burn,
yeah.
but has that kind of early jump scare or allusion to it, and has a guy from CSI Miami. So there's ways to pitch it to an audience who doesn't perhaps have the patience, and you can still have a message, and you can still have other layers to it.
Yeah.
How many teenagers do you know?
What a weird question, Dennis.
I've got a niece who's maybe 13.
Okay. I know quite a few because I have one.
Okay.
I'm glad you said that. You know, the fact that you know a lot of teenagers.
They're not that into CSI Miami.
No, they're not that intelligent. And I think that's the problem. I think clever horror movies, unless you're really into it, like my daughter I keep talking about, but she's very switched on. She's very much into kind of like, she watches the Universal horror movies with me and stuff. Like, she's not bothered black and white or whatever. She just likes horror. She would get stuff like that. Her friends, be on the phones like that. So I think
isn't that a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Well,
so take Disney and Studio Ghibli. They both produce children's films, which children would enjoy because of the bright colour, simple story. But the Studio Ghibli ones, and alright, some of the older Disney ones, have those additional layers, and it works on this level, but it also works on this level. Yeah. And you can have a trashy horror film. So Halloween is a trashy horror film.
Yeah.
Which came out in the
late 78, yeah.
But you look at the top grossing movies, you know, top 10 grossing movies, they're all very formula. You know, Marvel have got a formula. You know, powers fall out, makeup, something falls from the sky.
True.
And they make
blue light beam.
Yeah.
Blue sky beam.
They make billions with it. So I think cinema for me is always about escapism. Same why I'm into comics and that stuff. I want to open it, and sometimes I don't want to think. Sometimes I don't want to kind of walk away from it and think, "Ooh, I think that's this and that. I think they're looking at this," and I actually want to just go, "Yeah, I enjoyed that. It was fun. I enjoyed that, like 90 minutes of trash, because that's what I need at the time. I want to be transported to weird places." And yeah, you said your favorite like horror movie is Evil Dead 2. It's trash. Let's be honest. It's brilliant. It's absolutely, you know, it's amazing, but it is trash. You know,
it's trash. but there's more to it than the trash.
Of course, but you know,
if you're looking for the trash, it's there.
What I'm saying is, there's nothing behind James Bond's eyes. I think is my message.
Nothing behind James Bond's eyes.
His horror films are trash, and that's it.
Right. Okay. I see.
That's fair enough.
I thought you knew James Bond personally. Then, like, there's never been everything. Who knows? He'll do anything. He'll do anything to get that mission.
Is he directed Malignant?
That's James Wan, isn't it?
Is that James Wan?
Yeah.
I like that film.
I've not seen it yet.
It's very good.
Neither have I, but I'm looking forward to it. I've heard good things.
Absolutely mental.
Okay.
But it's great. Loved it. Let's carry on with the term. It is trash. But it's good. It's it's good. I like it. But
if you want trash, it's there, and if you like trash, it's there. But there's depth to even the trash if you look hard enough.
And I think
like we were saying earlier, there's choices made for reasons, for creative reasons. Things just, often in these films they're calculated, they're designed. Yeah, there are some like mistakes, like a stormtrooper walking into a rising door. There's things like that just occur. But there are choices made, and sometimes they're trashy choices.
I think horror, more than any genre, can kind of hit pretty much all the marks. So you get intelligent, you get trash, you get comedy, you get black comedy, you don't tend to get a rom-com that's intelligent. You don't tend to get an action movie that's,
There's a lot of variety in horror. I think
horror.
Yeah.
Kind of. Well, look at the film we just watched.
Yeah. The Beta Test.
Yeah, it's clever. It's got satire in it. It's funny. It's brutal. And it hits all those marks. I think horror does that. I think it cuts right the way through. You can also say sci-fi because, like I said, Event Horizon. I think that's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourites. Alien, again, one of my favourites. But
it's worth pointing out, I think, that we're talking about the full cut version of Event Horizon, not the cinematic release.
Oh yeah. I'm still waiting for that release of all the other stuff that they couldn't. They haven't found the unfound footage. I'd love for like an ultimate cut to be released if that even exists. But that would be great.
I do think horror. I think if you look at this festival, look at the movies, you can see the differences in them all. You've got, Howling, for instance, up at with the witches, and what we've just watched again, a beta thing. So you've got all these different things, and I do think horror hits them better than probably any other genre. Discuss.
I think, and I've talked about a number of times with people who look at me with increasing bewilderment, that horror and rom-coms are very similar for that reason.
Okay.
So they're both films that have, both genres rather, that have like the biggest arrows pointing to what their genre tropes are.
Yeah.
Which allows filmmakers to deconstruct and play with those things more than any other genre.
Yeah, I guess, they are quite obvious. You've got the running to the airport scene. There's always that. There's always like, I've made a mistake. Why? I love you. Yeah, sure, let's happen.
And I think,
we've done that. Yeah,
I've run down the train after it.
Yeah.
Come back.
You forgot this and you'll come back if you don't.
Yes.
Fucked off.
I didn't care. I'm not that emotional.
Left me crying.
I'm cold. Deep down, cold.
It seems to be a theme in my life because my wife left me on Underground in New York.
Okay.
Got on with my daughter and after her. Like, bye, thanks.
And you never saw her again.
No, I wanted never to see her.
Oh, I see. Yeah. There you are. So to round this all off, we like horror for the most part, I think.
Yeah.
I
do like film.
Yeah.
But I love horror. And I think it goes back to what you originally said. I watched it with my brother. So it was the time we spent as me and him, him sitting me down, watching demons, watching, Evil Dead, scaring the shit out of me. And that was kind of what got me into it. And it's same thing for Bond. Bond was the film that my dad took me to the cinema to see. So, we watched them together. Whenever we get a DVD box set of it, we watch the Bonds together because that's what we do.
You watch the Bonds to Bond.
And this one is one of the ones out now. Is the first one that he's not been to see with me, which is a little bit sad. But it is very much, I think, people around you that kind of influence them. So yeah, my brother thought it was amusing to watch me, cry.
But there was something like. There was certain like films I saw, I was too young to see, or certain books I was reading I was too young to see them. And there is that kind of like, I shouldn't be looking at this. I shouldn't be experiencing this. This is something different, something new. Or I guess it's like if you find like a porno mag or something, you're like, oh my God, what is this?
The best way I'd summarise horror is I used to work in cinema. I used to work in Odeon and Preston on the docks there. And when the horror film would come out on a Friday, you'd always get loads of teenagers in there. They would enjoy screaming and shouting.
Yeah.
You'd be like, the jump scares. And perhaps older people wouldn't enjoy their experience of that horror film.
No.
And on this one occasion, a lady came out to me and complained about them. So I was all right, okay, I'll come in and watch and like come in and interact. So about halfway through the film, I went back in and it seemed all quiet. And like, all right, is that because they've heard me coming in? So I tapped this lady on the shoulder to ask her if they'd been quiet, and she jumped up and screamed and was terrified and hit me. And I found that really funny, and you guys find that really funny, and that woman was terrified, and that's horror.
Yeah, I had a similar experience in. I went to see Step Brothers for the first time in the cinema, and me and my friend found it hilarious. We're fairly loud laughers, but we were laughing like all the way through. We just thought it was absolutely hilarious. Like almost every joke hit, and all I could hear in the background was like, "Stop bloody laughing! It's not even funny." And I'm like.
Which makes it the more fun.
Yeah, because it was hilarious. I was like, well, that's, and I was like, that's the reaction that the film wants me to have. They want me to laugh all the way through it. Like, what are you here for? What are you doing in a comedy? You grumpy old bastard. But yes, on that bombshell, we like cinema, we like movies, we very much like Grimmfest, and we like what we're seeing so far. Again, this is just the first night. This is just the preview of much things to come. But thank you very much for talking to us.
Thanks for chatting.
You know your stuff, certainly. So we do appreciate that. But yeah, this will be out very soon, and you can listen to your dulcet tones back.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Cheers, mate.
Thanks again, man. Spider Dan and the Secret Boars back at Grimmfest 2021, and I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend that has been the middleman myth and legend in regards to sorting this out for us and organising this with Simeon Halligan, the director and event coordinator of Grimmfest. And we are very, very grateful for Dennis and Simeon for giving us this opportunity to be the official podcast for Grimmfest 2021. And we're just here to talk about the very first night, day one, which was a Thursday. How have you found Grimmfest so far and the experience of being part of it, Dennis?
It's excellent. It's the vibe's good. Everyone's really friendly. The directors, actors, producers we've met are wonderful. The volunteers can't do enough for you. They're all very approachable. Yeah, it's great. I've enjoyed it. I'm very tired, but I'm very enjoying it.
We're technically into day 2, but it's not finished yet, so we don't want to talk about it just yet. But day 1 was brilliant. We managed it. Like I didn't, coming here. We've been invited, and we don't expect anything. We're just happy to be here. We're going to try and do our best with our limitations that we have, be it technology, location, what have you. We're just going to do our best. And honestly, they were thanking us for coming. Yeah, I was like, no. Thank you for doing this.
What are your limitations?
Yes, absolutely, Dennis. No, Dennis has been the schmoozer, so he's been getting all the audience members to come over to the table. I've been interviewing them, the guests as well. We've talked to some of the staff as well, and they've been amazing and giving up so much of their time and just recording for such a small, kind of relatively small podcast. I put a lot of hard work into this and spend a lot of time editing and promoting and stuff, and this is probably one of the biggest gets we could possibly have. So I have to say massive thank you to Dennis and Simeon for letting me do this. To be part of an international film festival is incredible.
Yeah, and whenever you are thanking me, but it's not. I see it very much as a team thing.
Oh yeah.
It's. I couldn't get us here if you weren't doing it.
If there wasn't a podcast involved, probably not.
So
no, but
it's definitely we're a partnership when it comes to stuff like this.
Of course,
as much as I greased the palms and spoke to people and stuff, and
did all the seducing.
But it's
did all the foreplay.
I did all the foreplay. I'm not going to tell you how that happened, but there you go. But no, it's an honour to be it. And
Absolutely.
I've been going around thanking everyone, and they're saying, "Why are you thanking us?
Yeah.
You're the one who's working. You're the one who's doing the interviews. You're the one who's going out doing this, that, and the other." It's like, yeah, but you've invited us. You know, you're the guys. Yeah, we'll do this. Give you a press pass. Pass. How good does that sound?
Definitely one of the best events I've been to. The vibe, the atmosphere, everyone's lovely. The guests have been amazing. So positive, so genuine. Again, just brilliant, and I love it. I've never been to Grimmfest before. How does this relate to your previous experience? Because I know you have.
Yeah, it's a lot different because the Grimmfest I've been to have been at smaller venues.
Like the dance house, I believe.
Yeah, and the projection sometimes wasn't as good as it should have been, and I think Simeon would be the first one to kind of say that. I think it's grown. When I went, it was one day. Yeah.
This is the 13th Grimmfest.
I've not been for several years just because the weight's fallen. I've either been on holiday or work.
I follow it, and I've always looked and watched, and I've always been meaning to go, or every time they've announced something, oh yeah, that sounds really good, and then I'll forget to buy a ticket or something will get in the way, or it'll be a holiday, or I can't get the time off, various other things. But the fact that the way this has fallen has been really kind of, I already had the Friday off, so it was beneficial in that way, so we could do this. And it's just been amazing. And it's been like we said, it's been such a smooth transition. We have done previous events as well, and I'm not going to poo-poo those events because they were fun and great and an amazing opportunity. But
we weren't confirmed till Wednesday, really, 100% confirmed till Wednesday. And like Dan was saying, I'd also done the same thing. I'd booked Friday off for a completely different reason, because I'm stupid, I didn't check my emails properly. So when I finally got the email and went through, but it was so smooth, the kind of email exchange. There was never anything put in the way. It was always
never any barriers.
Yeah, come along. These are the guests. Access to them all. It was
because we've been very much like, what can we do for you? How can we facilitate this? How can we make this as easy? Because these guys are busy. They've got technical issues. They've got logistical problems that they have to sort out. That is their bag. That is what they have to do this weekend, because it's a massive endeavour, this whole thing, and that's what we can. And they were like, no, what can we do for you? And it's just been such a wonderful working relationship just from the get-go.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been really, really good. And the films we've seen up to now have been quite good, but completely different.
So yesterday, again, day one, Thursday, we watched Slapface, and we managed to interview with PJ McCabe. Oh, sorry, not Slapface. What am I talking about? I'm mixing all the days up now. I need some more sleep.
Beta.
So we saw the beta test with Jim Cummings and PJ McCabe. We also interviewed PJ McCabe, who is co-star, co-writer, co-director for
co-producer
as well. Give him all of his put all those medals on him.
He's also the cleaner, because they basically do it out of a garage. So
that's what they were saying. They were editing the film out of a garage, and I think that's been my favourite so far that we've seen. We've not seen much. But
no, we're going to see a few more on day 2.
Yes.
But yeah, it was my favourite for the Thursday, and I think it added a little bit to it, the fact we'd met PJ beforehand.
Yeah.
And he was charming. He was so lovely. He just wanted to talk about everything.
So positive.
So when we saw him on the big screen and stuff, he's like almost playing himself.
Yeah. Well, his character's called PJ as well.
Yeah.
So it was like, and it was kind of nice because it was like, oh, it's like seeing an old friend or seeing something like that. It was quite nice, even though we were 5 minutes or so. Something like that.
He spoke to me afterwards. He came over and I thanked him for everything. He was no, thank you for coming watching the film and podcasts and stuff. So, and it's what I'm finding different is the fact that the guests really, really want to engage with everybody.
Absolutely.
They really want to be part of everything.
The experience, yeah.
And they've got other media things they have to do. They've got the media things for Grimmfest, and then they come and sit with us. Not one of them has kind of tutted or rolled their eyes.
Yeah, or like, I'm a bit too tired, a bit too busy, I've got a lot on and stuff. No, and yeah, like even the people, their entourage has been really nice. They've not been. It's not been difficult. It's not been hard. It's absolutely not been hard work at all. Just doing what we need to do, and we've managed to get the things we needed to get. It's going to be some really good listening is coming up, some really good quality interviews, some quality guests. And again, if you have missed the Grimmfest, there is going to be streaming released the following Thursday. So all the films that you could have seen, all the short films you could have seen, if for whatever reason, if you were busy, you're ill, whatever, it's all going to be online in less than a week's time. And I think that's amazing as well. Obviously, this is one of the first real proper events going on in Manchester, centre of Manchester, since kind of lockdowns and stuff. And I think they've handled it in such a great way. Everyone's, it's a very relaxed atmosphere. It's nothing, no one's panicking or stressed about anything. I think this is. I can't wait to go to more events like this in the future. Soon.
Yeah, and it's very in keeping with what kind of our ethos is as well. It's not mainstream movies. It's on the fringe.
Yeah.
It's friendly. It's pretty much family run. Simi and his partner, and they all
it's a communal family effort.
They have the same people come back every single year. The same volunteers come back every year. So it very fits into kind of what myself and Dan are kind of about, really.
And the podcast itself is to celebrate, unheralded films or movies, comics, whatever we talk about, being them brand new, being them old. These are independent films, and they need all the love and appreciation and good word of mouth and press that they need, and they fully well deserve it.
And it amazes me how far independent film has come, because the production value on the beta test, you would have thought it was a big studio, and it wasn't. It's a guy in a shed.
It looks slick.
Yeah,
it is a slick,
it's proper,
stylish.
Yeah, well shot, well lit. Everything about it is, and I didn't find out until afterwards how they do stuff, because the other guest, the other co-star,
Jim Cummings.
Yeah, he was supposed to be coming. But can't, because
he was supposed to be Jim Cummings.
Hey,
Hey.
He's back at home in a shed editing something else.
Yeah, so they're doing a new film. So the work never stops. They've got to keep ticking on. And there was some really good stuff. It was very topical, like with the data scraping and the Harvey Weinstein Me Too type thing. You may be able to hear Whistlepunk's axe throwing, which is just round the corner from us, and that's what all the noise is if you're picking that up on the microphone. That is a place that I got dumped by an ex-girlfriend.
Did she throw an axe at you?
I'd like to call it X-throwing, really.
Okay.
Way.
Oh,
because she got rid of me. She got rid of me. But yeah, whatever. I won't talk about my tragic love life any longer. We could be here all day. So, I really like the beta test. Again, it's not. There is the opening scene is truly horrific and really, really kind of disturbing, and it's this abusive relationship, and it gets this poor woman gets beaten, killed, stabbed. But then the rest of the film isn't really like that. It's kind of like a black comedy thriller.
It is. It is laugh out loud funny in places.
I laughed all the way through.
Yeah, and it's
truly hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's for me, it's not a horror movie. It's more a thriller, but with black undertones, which is just so funny.
Yeah, it's
really funny.
The closest thing I could describe it to is kind of American Psycho. That kind of the one-upmanship that I've got to be better than this guy. The presenting the fake persona that everyone needs to love, but the inner persona is dark and disturbed and broken.
Yeah. And a bit of Entourage, a little
bit of Entourage. Yeah, because they're Hollywood agents. So there's a bit of that.
And bullshitting constantly.
Yeah,
all the time,
constant bullshit,
including their own lives.
But I could see something of that character, in everybody. I think there's moments where you do put on, like, I was a trained actor, which I very rarely talk about.
Here we go
again. But there is, you do have to put. But you'll do it, Dennis. You'll meet somebody or talk to people that you might not necessarily like. But you have to, maybe. Mothers-in-law or brothers-in-law that you might not necessarily like.
It's not even a law; it's just my family.
Just your family.
Yeah, in general.
Well, Dennis is the black sheep. The black sheep of the Whittles.
I'm 43 now, so basically, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
so I just talk to him anyway.
Nah, that's fine.
Yeah, but no, I generally felt a little bit of sympathy for him as the story unveiled.
I think someone was saying that it's a very physical performance, and someone was saying he's almost Jim Carrey-like a little bit. There's an aspect to that cartoony,
and it is funny because he does look a little bit like Patrick Bateman.
It's the chin, I think.
And the
and he's doing and again he's doing he's doing this teeth whitening thing. and it's kind of like this beauty. It's that presentation. It's like
he's driving around in this car and he goes, "I've got something to tell you. It's leased."
Yeah, he's like, it's all false. It's all a front and everything, and that's his kind of big reveal towards the end. But I would highly recommend it. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's the basic plot is that this young man who's about to get married, who's this again, false, smarmy Hollywood agent. He gets a purple letter, and it's basically for a no strings attached sexual encounter, and it's basically, do you want to go ahead with it or not? And that's your inciting incident.
And what I liked about the letter as well, if you're interested, the second one, you've got to tick your preferences. What you're into.
I think he went for face sitting.
He went for face sitting.
It was all about the face.
And
sitting.
then he put Dom and then scrubbed it out and then ticked it again and scrubbed it out again.
Oh, he double ticked one of them, didn't he? I was like double that.
But yeah, no, it's when we interview people right after, which you'll hear on the podcast, and it was interesting people's take on it as well. I purposely try to get couples to ask them the question: if you had the purple envelope and you opened it, would you go? And surprisingly, a few people said yes. I wouldn't, because Sarah, I love you and I like my balls.
He certainly does. You want to keep them. But yeah, I highly recommend it. I think it was a great way to open Grimmfest, because I think it was a really strong film. There was a Q&A after with PJ. We didn't get to hear that because obviously we had to set up for our own Q&A, basically, with everyone else. But yeah, it was really nice to hear the different perspectives on the film and the characters and stuff. We spoke to a couple of the staff as well, Holly and Alan, I believe.
Yeah.
And they were talking. They mostly just talked about their love for horror films in general.
Yeah.
Less about the film itself, because I don't think they'd necessarily seen it. I think they were working as well.
Yeah.
Much like us, never stop. But it was nice to kind of just hear what their thoughts were on and why they love horror and why they got involved with Grimmfest as well.
We do literally never stop.
No, we never. There's never a dull moment.
I've had like 3 hours sleep.
Yeah, 3 hours sleep. Not much to eat.
No, we need to be better at that.
Yeah, we definitely need to. Because I think that's what I think you were saying the other day, is that they had to organise longer gaps between the films, because some people are so keen on seeing all these films and getting their money's worth that they actually won't eat or drink, or they'll forget to, because they'll have people pass out and stuff.
And it's quite warm, so you need fluids in you as well.
So, absolutely.
See, it's now turned into like a public safety announcement. Yeah. If you're attending,
look after yourself.
Yeah, have something to eat. Have a drink.
All the gremlins, as they call them, not gremlins. They call them gremlins. So I've got my Prattalion, and they've got their gremlins. So
very good.
There you are.
I've got nobody.
Got nobody. You've got a wife and a child, Dennis.
Who are they?
Forget it.
No.
Clearly doesn't matter, does it?
No, I want more.
You want more wives and children?
No, I'd like to kind of maybe swap Sarah for a couple of days with somebody else.
Okay.
And then swap back afterwards.
Right.
But I wouldn't want to lose.
So wife swapping?
No, not full wife swap. No, she's not going to go with anyone else. She's just going to go on holiday for a few days.
Right.
And then I get to choose anyone I want.
And
then she's happy. She's fine with that. And then she comes back, and the other one goes away, and that's it for the rest of my life.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Don't know where this has gone.
No, but it still links in, doesn't it? With the kind of it's
an interesting question. I think it's a question about temptation. And again, like talking about the social media element, it's like there's a lot of that's kind of linked to mental health and linked to like comparing yourself and people's lives and stuff.
When people put on pictures that haven't been filtered and pictures that have been filtered and stuff, and basically nothing in social media is real.
No.
And it touches on that as well.
But yeah, I do recommend it. I think it's topical. I think it's fun. It's interesting. The whole data scraping idea, like data being used as a weapon, and your whole life on social media, your whole life on the internet is recorded. Everything is there. They can pull that up and use that against you. If you're suggestible to potentially having an affair, then you're being targeted. I did think there was going to be more of a supernatural element to it, because it did come across that way, like it was almost like a curse or something. But I won't spoil it, but it's not quite that in the end. And yeah, but I highly recommend it. I think it was one of the best films we've seen so far.
Yep.
But that has been day one, so it wasn't a long day. It was probably our shortest day, but we still packed it in, rammed it in, and we got to know a lot of people. Got a lot of cool interviews and stuff.
That's what he did in beta test.
He did. He packed it in several times.
Rammed it,
crammed it, whatever you want to call it. But it was all consensual, and they had fun, and and then he just gets obsessed with it, doesn't he? It spirals and spirals and spirals. And
after we come off that, I do have a question to ask you about
a personal one.
No, about the movie, because it was something I didn't understand.
Well, I think now's a good enough time, but that's briefly our sum up of kind of what we did for the first day.
So for my summing up, it's an awesome event.
Incredible.
If you love horror movies, love thrillers, love the darker side of cinema, then you should be getting your ass down
Absolutely.
here. It's not massively expensive compared to other film festivals in the country.
Or even horror film festivals,
The staff are great, merchandise selling is pretty cool. It's just, if you like that sort of stuff, if that rocks your boat, you'd be filled not to be
this
here.
Is it. And it's located in the northwest, so if you're in Manchester, you're in the northwest. It's it's very accessible. It's at a huge cinema on Deansgate. I love the northern aspect to it. Being a northern lad myself, I like. There's something quite nice and welcoming about the north and the people of the north, and I love it. And I think we need more northern events. Like festivals and things.
I can't think of any other movie festival like this
that's so proud of their roots and their northernness
and this big.
Yeah, and again, this is as northern as it is. It's also got an international flavour to it as well, which I think is incredible. And, really,
well, a lot of credit has to be given to the organisers because it is good. I love it.
And it, getting in and out has not been difficult. The logistics they're doing, the whole team is doing a bang up job. We've not had literally not one negative experience with anybody, audience staff or whoever. They're doing incredible work, and I've never felt more welcomed as being part of something. And I hope this relationship lasts a long time.
Yeah, because we kind of thought we were a bit on the outside, didn't we? It was like it's like that kind of uncle you invite to your wedding just because you met him once in a pub somewhere.
Yeah, Uncle Nobed.
Now we're here. We've been invited because they actually want us here.
Yeah,
and it comes across. Yeah, so that's really nice.
And the fact that they picked this podcast out of all the podcasts in the world, effectively.
It's because you're awesome.
Yeah.
Dan.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. People like me. People like the podcast. But it's still awe-inspiring to me to know that this little podcast. Again, it's not so little anymore, but it's still building, and the fact that I could be picked out of thousands, hundreds, millions, whoever. To do this and to be the official podcast is incredible. We are so blessed to be a part of this event, and I couldn't be more happier.
I think I should be an agent.
Yeah, I think you do well. Yeah. I think you do well. Just don't pick up any envelopes, and you'll be fine.
No, I couldn't do that thing on my teeth. I'd be gagging.
Yeah. You're good with people, Dennis. You're the schmoozer.
Good with people.
He's the schmoozer. I do the rest. Anyway, I think that's enough said on our first day. It's been great. We'll keep you guys updated with more social media stuff and more podcast incoming. And we'll talk to you later.
So it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. Bye.
Bye.